All right, everyone, welcome. Hello, thank you for joining us for MIT Sloan Alumni Online. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day on a Tuesday and hope that everyone is well and safe. We're glad to have two colleagues with us from the MIT Sloan Career Development Office today. Kerri Tierney is the Senior Associate Director of Operations, Technology, and Outcome Analytics. And Bryn Burkhart is the Senior Associate Director of Alumni Career Services. Whether you are in the midst of a career transition, or perhaps you're thinking it's time to start looking, or you just want to refresh some of your career development skills, this is the session for you to learn about all of the resources that are available to you as an alum of the MIT Sloan School of Management. So Kerri and Bryn will present first, and then offer a walkthrough of the Your CDO platform, and then we'll hold a Q&A at the end of the session. You'll be able to submit questions via the Q&A panel in your Zoom interface. So without further ado, Kerri, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Greg. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Thank you. As Greg mentioned, my name is Kerri Tierney, and in the Career Development Office at MIT Sloan, I oversee the resources, tools, and technologies that we provide access to for a variety of our stakeholders, including, of course, our alumni. And my colleague, Bryn Burkhart, is our dedicated coach for Alumni Career Services. Bryn will join us a little bit later in the Q&A to help to support some of the questions that you all might have. So as Bryn and I were deciding about what content we wanted to provide today, we really wanted to make sure that you all know that as a graduate of the portfolio of MIT Sloan degree programs, you have access to lifelong career development. And so this is an important philosophy that we in the Career Development Office have. We want to make sure that as we are looking at resources, we are thinking not only of our current students, but also of the breadth of individuals that are outside in the world who also might be looking to revisit and reinvigorate their career journey. So with lifelong career development, what that means is you do have access to coaching with individuals like my colleague Bryn. You also have access to curated content, to content that my colleagues are creating and putting out regularly onto our website, and also that we pull in from other valued resources externally. We also continue to invest in tools, resources, and technologies as a way of subscriptions that are available to you as alumni. But what we also realize is that's a lot. It's a lot to meet the expectations of a wide breadth of individuals at different stages of their career journey. And we heard that not only from alumni, but we also heard it from our current students. They came to us and said, yes, you offer a lot, but I need to know where and when and why and how can I access that when it makes the most sense for where I am in my career journey. And that really resonated. So with that call to action, we launched in the summer of 2019, Your CDO. Your CDO is meant to be a hub of all career-related content that the members of the MIT Sloan community would like to put front and center for a variety of our stakeholders. If you have access to another device or another monitor or browser, I welcome you to go to cdo.mit.edu and bookmark Your CDO. Your CDO is an external-facing website. So not only is it open to individuals within our MIT Sloan community, but it also is available to our external stakeholders. So in addition to our students and alumni, we also have employers, individuals who are interested in connecting with current students or alumni. We also have prospective students who are interested in learning a little bit more about what does it involve, what do I receive, what is it like to be a part of the MIT Sloan Career Development ecosystem. So there's a lot of information that is out there that is available to many people. But you as internal stakeholders, you have access to some proprietary information as well. What that means is that there'll be a call to action for you to log in to gain access to some of our more curated and specific content that we are creating for our graduates of our degree programs, as well as passwords and usernames. So in order to access this information, you want to go at the top of cdo.mit.edu to the login link. And once you click on login, the screen is going to pop up and it's going to ask you, do you want to log in via Touchstone as a student, or do you want to log in via your Infinite Connection resources if you're an alumni? For those of you who have not yet set up your Infinite Connection, you can learn more at alum.mit.edu/account/create. So again, if you have not done that, you're still welcome to play around with the site a little bit today as we go through some of these slides. So as we were developing your CDO, we really wanted to make sure that this curated content was done in an individualized or personalized way as we could. And what that meant is we are pulling in content with a community-based approach. So when you go to your CDO, you'll find a community that hopefully you align with, be it a community that is affiliated with your alumni status, a community that is affiliated potentially with yourself at the current organization that you're a part of, and an employer from the employer perspective, or it could be your community as it relates to the industry or function that you're a part of, or you would like to explore more. Once you find that community, you will find the resources, the coaches, the blog posts that are really relevant for you. And you'll find your opportunities to connect with other individuals who are potentially in that same age and stage of their career process, or who are available to help you in your journey and where you are at that moment. So today what I'd like to do is I'd like to put some things front of mind for you. Some of the tools that you have access to, some of that curated content that you will find. And then we're going to go away from the slides and we're actually going to dig into your CDO so you can see a little bit more about what your user experience would be like. So as I am working with new vendors, evaluating new resources and tools, it's always with the mindset of what can we provide access to our students and also our alumni. As we're re-engaging with vendors that we currently have relationships with, we're always having conversations about what might they be able to offer to our alumni as well. So I would encourage you, as you think about tools and subscriptions, to check back into your CDO often to see what else might be popping up there for you. On your CDO, we offer job boards. So for example, some of you might remember using Career Central when you were a student. We have an MIT Sloan Alumni focused job board that is a different view of Career Central. And this job board, we would encourage you to think about not only as a transactional tool, not only as something that you see a job posting, you submit a cover letter or a resume, but also as a way to do research. Employers go into Career Central, they create a company profile, and they post opportunities specifically with Sloanies in mind. So you can see not only current opportunities, but also some of their history of opportunities that they've targeted Sloanies for. And this is a good way for you to start to think about what opportunities are out there in the market and how might you want to think about engaging with those opportunities. Once you are ready to go to that stage of submitting a resume, we have a tool called VMock. VMock is a resume review tool that uses an AI component and a history of benchmarks to help to give you feedback on your resume that may not be seen by your own eye. VMock is going to tell you things like, did you make a spelling mistake? Are you overusing a certain word? Are you using too many filler words? And then also get into, are you, in comparison to a benchmark of successful historical MIT Sloan resumes, are you using enough quantitative language? Are you using enough action-oriented language? So I would definitely encourage you to dig into VMock and upload your resume and start that process of seeing where you might have some area to grow your resume. In addition, we all know that you can have a resume, but having a LinkedIn profile and a strong LinkedIn presence is really important in today's job search market. We've recently put out a new tool that was built by former employees of LinkedIn, and it's called the Missing Manual. The idea is that it is a course that you have access to, that you are able to go through different modules and really experience and learn how you are able to use the LinkedIn platform to the most of its capabilities. We also have company research tools. So if you're at a point in your career process where you're thinking about wanting to learn or dig a little bit deeper into a new industry, and also learn a little bit more about what companies are in those industries and a little bit more about their backgrounds, you can use tools such as Vault and the Plunkett research guides. When you get to the point where you're looking to interview, we also have interview prep tools. One example is Management Consulted. So if you're looking to practice some potential interview questions within the consulting sector, Management Consulting could be a good interview prep tool for you. So those are the topics that those are the tools that we invest in and we offer subscriptions to our alumni. But on a regular basis, we're also adding our own content. We're creating content, we're creating webinars and videos and PDFs, and also leaning on the expertise of other colleagues and professionals in the career development space outside of MIT Sloan. And the way that we have presented this on your CDO is through some very specific buckets that our hope is you'll be able to look at and say, okay, you know what, this is where I am in my career journey. Let me dig in there and see what resources are available to me, because this is where I'm at. This is my stage. There's a lot of information in there. It's something that you could potentially put a reminder on your calendar for once a week to start to dig around in some of the webinars and PDFs that are out there. And the purpose of this slide is for you to know, where do I start? If we were to pick one item from each of those buckets that we would recommend that you engage with first, these are those. So now let me just switch over and let's actually look directly into your CDO. So your CDO, again, is an external-facing website. So you can see on this landing page that we actually have a lot of content that is flowing onto this main landing page. This is not necessarily where you're going to find that curated content. This is where you would get a breadth of all of the blog posts that we've put out there, of all of our upcoming events across populations and all of our resources. Before we dig into some of those career communities that I mentioned before, I want to point out one of the key takeaways that I hope you get from this session. In addition to bookmarking cdo.mit.edu and to knowing that where you can go to find your community and the resources that we believe are most beneficial to you, I want you to remember that this site is a completely searchable site. So we have this keyword search bar up here, so that if it's a couple days from today, if it's a few weeks from now, if it's in the evening hours and you're really ready to dig into that next stage of your career journey, and you remember Kerri shared something about, let's say, resume review tool, you can go directly to the search bar and do a search. And if I search on resume review, what's going to come up is everything that has those keywords, everything that is tagged to resume review. But then you remember that it's a resource. So instead of scrolling through all of those, you go to this resource tab. And here it is. Now you remember VMOC. VMOC was the tool that Kerri had shared. So this keyword search key, I think, is one of the best takeaways that I would love for you to get from today's session. Let's go back and let's look a little bit more at those career communities I was talking to you about. Now, before we dig into that alumni one, the one that I think is going to be the most robust community for you, I want you to think about your industry career community. Now, these communities could be an industry that you're currently in. It could be one that you aspire to be in, or it could be one of our affinity career communities. When you dig into these subsets, you will find information that pertain to these career communities, but again, they'll go across a breadth of populations. So while it may be that you are interested in energy, we will have curated content in there that will be both for our student stakeholders and our alumni stakeholders. I do think it's a good place for you to go and read new blogs and new news articles that we think are helpful for individuals who are pursuing these sectors. But let's now dig into your community, the alumni career community. I'm going to go directly to Alumni Career Resources. So Alumni Career Resources, again, this is where we are going to bring up the individuals that are available to you for your career coaching. Also, some upcoming events. And you can count on the fact that if it's found on this alumni career community, these events are career-related events that are open to you. We're also going to call front of mind some of those key topics that I brought up on the slides, some of those really important career videos and resources that are right at the top of the page. But rest assured that the bulk of them are going to fall down below into the buckets here. So let's start to dig in a little bit on these. When you are first thinking about even engaging in a research on your next stage of your career, we highly recommend that you would go to this beginning a job search career change bucket. And if we click in here, you can see we have several assessments and webinars that you can go through to really help to build your invigoration around what is next for you in your process. Starting with this, navigating your career at any age and stage, we would highly recommend that as you are starting to think about this process, this is the best place for your step one. In addition, when you're ready to start engaging with individuals and sharing with them your resumes and your cover letters, we actually have examples. We have examples out there that can help you to start to think about what is the best way to position yourself on a piece of paper. And here's where you have that VMOC resume review tool. I'm going to go ahead and jump in over here so you can see what the experience looks like once you log in. I've put in a dummy resume just to give you an example. But when you upload your own resume, it's going to give you a score. The idea is that it gamifies it a bit so that you are able to see your progression as you upload more instances of your resume. Then it's going to give you feedback. What is your score in relation to the impact that your resume is making? What about the presentation? Is it meeting those key requirements that we believe set you up to have the best template for a successful resume? And what about those career competencies? Are you meeting the benchmark that the system, the AI, has built in to align you with what they see as successful resumes of some of your predecessors? And when you go into the detailed feedback, it's actually going to take you bullet by bullet. And it's going to tell you, we think these ones are successful. These yellow ones, they could use a little bit of work. Here's some other ways of thinking about it. And the red ones, those are ones that you definitely want to do some configuration on before you go ahead and send this resume out. Once you've done your resume and you're ready to start having conversations with individuals, you can meet with a career advisor in our office. Bryn is our primary coach, and if you see up the top here, you can learn a little bit more about what services Bryn provides. And you can request an appointment directly with her, directly from this site. Having run your resume through VMOC already will help you to have a more substantive conversation with Bryn about how that resume best represents you versus going through some of those nuts and bolts of how to set up a resume and what language to use in it. Beyond that, you want to start doing some research and start doing some networking. So we have that in our bucket here. Here's where you're going to find some of those resources I told you about before. So the Plunkett research tool and the Vault research guides. So you can really dig in and learn a little bit more about the industry that you're focused on. In addition, a really great resource that I would encourage you to check out is our MIT Alumni Advisors Hub. This is an opportunity for you to be reciprocal. You're able to indicate if you want to receive advice from other alumni, or if you would like to volunteer to also connect with current students and provide them with some advice about how you have managed through your career process and how they might engage to do the same. To show you what that looks like. There's also An authentication that's required through an Infinite Connection. So as you're setting up your Infinite Connection so that you're able to log into your CDO, you'll also be able to have access to the MIT Alumni Advisors Hub. And there's an FAQ on here too that answers a lot of the frequent questions that we hear from individuals before they engage with the tool. Job sites. Again, thinking about these job tools not only as transactional, but as ways to do research. Let's look specifically at that instance of Career Central that I was speaking about earlier. You'll have access to a dashboard where we'll have a list of companies, and you can look to see which of these companies have indicated that they have recruiters specifically targeting the individuals who have graduated from MIT Sloan. We have a breadth of companies in here and over 10,000 and several contacts who have indicated that they are specifically targeting Sloanies who have graduated in the past. And then we also have the job postings. The interesting thing about the job postings is that it's not just for current. We also have, you can see a breadth of past job postings as well. Okay, let us go back. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about as you think about the networking is some of our contacts and our directories. There's the MIT Alumni Directory, which is only as good as the information that our alumni are providing. So we would encourage you to think about updating your representation in the Alumni Directory, similar to how you update your representation in LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, we also have a direct link to the MIT Sloan school page in LinkedIn, which can sometimes feel a little bit hidden, which is why we put it out front and center, so that you're able to go in and really start navigating through who might be a connection for you or a potential connection for you from the MIT Sloan ecosystem. And then you're able to start really filtering down by where they work, where they live, or other credentials that might be of interest to you in your job search. So that was a lot of information that I just provided. Again, my hope is that coming out of this, you know to bookmark cdo.mit.edu. You know that this is something that is curated to a community that we think aligns with the breadth of our stakeholders, and that we're updating constantly to provide up-to-date content for you. And then it's a completely searchable site so that you are able to use this when it makes the most sense for you in your process. I'm going to pause there and then see if Bryn would like to join me so we can start looking at some questions and answers.
Thanks, Kerri. That was great. Hi, everybody. For those of you I haven't talked to for a while, I hope everybody's staying sane and healthy. We did get a few questions that came in, Kerri, so I'm going to go ahead and pitch those to you, and then maybe we can tag team on the response.
Great.
So one question was, what resources exist for those of us who are looking for opportunities as we near retirement or post-retirement? And so we did have a widget that we didn't click into, and so I just want to draw that to people's attention. So all the way down, exec search, mid-career, and return to work. So for whoever asked this question, or for others who might be curious, we kind of lumped together exec search resources as well as mid-career and return to work for people who have taken a career break. So this is where you would go. Encore Careers, which is the third from the end there. Great site. I actually just listened to a podcast with one of its leadership people, Marcy Albahur, today. Great for those who are considering their next chapter. In Encore, it speaks to kind of what's next for you. So I would recommend that you take a look at that. And then also, let's do a coaching session. I truly feel that coaching is the best return on investment that you can get, because it is so personalized and customized to you. And it's a chance for, if it's not me, it can also be one of my colleagues, just digging in and getting a sense of what's important to you, what are your needs, what are your desires, and then how can we help you frame that against the market. Oh, thanks for clicking into that. That is a little more information on the kind of things we can talk about in a coaching session, which also tees up with the second question. Kerri, you're ahead of me. So what individual career coaching is available to me as an alum? So we're like simpatico here. I love that. So Honestly, I love what I do because I love to meet people where they're at. You know, some people come to me with very, with an intention of, okay, I need to do my resume. Well, you know, it's actually probably a little bit more, more granular than just tending to a resume. If I'm going to help you with a resume, VMOC is a great place to start. So I love that Kerri suggested that, but it's more like, it's more about your broader positioning and what are you really trying to do here? Because a resume is not going to be the end all be all, and it's not going to move the needle on your job search. It's a little bit more about how are you going to talk about yourself? Where are you at this stage of your career? What's important to you? What strengths and skills do you want to use? So as you'll see here, you probably have read the bullets while I've been talking. Coaching can help flesh all of those things out, from helping you think about how to start a search, to the branding and positioning, to interview prep, to salary negotiation. So thank you for clicking in there. And then the other question we got was, what if I'm trying to learn about different industries? What resources are available? Actually, I think we did preview a little bit of that, Kerri, but the research and networking widget that you showcased would.
Yeah. I would say that research and networking widget, let's go down to that, which we did look at. And this may also be an opportunity for you to click in and explore a little bit about the career-focused communities that we have. So we do have all of these curated resources that are specifically accessible for our alumni, but it may also be of interest to you to look at some of these career resources by industry. So for example, if it was, you know, CPG retail that you were looking to explore, you might go into this industry and see some of sample jobs, sample companies, and blog posts and articles that we think are helpful as you're exploring this area.
Yeah, that's great. We had another Q&A that came in about BlueSteps. BlueSteps is a resource in our exec search return to work bucket or widget. So I'm going to say it depends. The question in and of itself, let me see, is BlueSteps an option worth signing up for? Okay, I think it's going to depend on where you're at in your career search. I know that when you're talking about search firms, there's different types of search firms, retained search and contingent search. And so what I'm going to recommend that the person who asked this question do is read this top article called Connecting with Exec Search and how exec search differs from contingent recruiting, and then decide if this could be an option for you. And I'm also happy to jump on a call and just talk about your situation and whether it makes sense. BlueSteps is a great resource. It can provide access to opportunities on the margins that are maybe off the beaten path. So I don't know that it's for everybody. It's going to be very individual. And then we did get one more. Is there a resource more dedicated to European-based alumni? So, well, Kerri, do you want to take that, or do we?
Well, I was going to say, you know, so we have, again, this is more geared towards, even if you look at the title, international students. So again, we do have some career resources in particular for our international student community. So this may be worth looking through. You may end up, you know, coming into a point where you realize that some of the tools are actually geared towards current students versus alumni. But there is a job site, if we're thinking about job boards, that's called MBA Exchange.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, and that is accessible to our alumni community. And I'm going to go down. It's under the job sites widget. We do have a call out, and you have access to the MBA Exchange Premium Access Job Board. And this is where you really can look and get a greater breadth of opportunities internationally.
I'll just add on to that. Yes, that is the job board I was thinking about. But remember that job boards, you guys, should really be about market research. Okay. And it's fine to go ahead and blindly throw or not blindly, but submit your resume online. But it's akin to putting a needle in a haystack, right? So that should not be the only vehicle you use if you are in a job search. The intelligent networking video is a great place to look at, or a great resource that I created. I did that at Alumni Reunion a couple of years ago. I'm going to do a refresh on it this year, because we've had so many great success stories during COVID of using intelligent networking to kind of get to that next step. So I would recommend, again, I keep pushing it back to maybe the one-on-one, but these are things that we can help and customize a plan that works for you if you want to set up a coaching appointment. That was it for our Q&A.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for taking the time. Welcome you to reach out to me as well if you have any questions about access to our resources. My email is kparis, kparis@mit.edu. And with that, I will turn it back over to Greg. And thank you, Greg, for inviting me and allowing me to spend this time.
Great. Thank you, Kerri. Thank you, Bryn. We appreciate your time as always. This has been great. A great refresh of your CDO site and all of the resources that are available to alums. So for our viewers, we hope you'll take advantage of these resources. Thank you for joining us. As you close out of the Zoom today, you will see a survey on your screen. So please fill that out and let us know your feedback on today's session. We'll also be sending an email to all registrants for today's session with various links and other resources available to you. We'll also have a recording of the webinar, and the slide deck will be available as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out to our team in external relations or reach out to Bryn and her team in the Sloan Career Development Office. So thank you again, Kerri and Bryn. Thank you again to all of our alumni online, and we hope you have a great day. Take care.